Hi everyone, quick note about remote online notarization, known as RON, and electronic settlements. We've heard a lot about them in the last year, understandably so. We've been quarantined because of the pandemic. How do we get real estate transaction closed? Universal Title has been doing very well with the various ways that we've been closing on real estate and utilizing the remote online notary platforms where the circumstances allowed for that type of closing. Well, first, I'd like to distinguish from the use of one of those platforms versus some sort of virtual electronic communication that we may do daily, like a Facetime settlement or a Goto meeting settlement, where somehow the closing company has forwarded the closing documents to the buyer, seller ahead of time. They've printed them somehow, or maybe they sent the hard copy package to them, and then they're signing as the notary is watching them over Facetime or Goto meeting or what have you. That is different from using a legitimate, licensed, bonded, remote online notary platform where there is a licensed and bonded notary in that virtual closing room who's notarizing electronically while the buyer, seller sign electronically. And furthermore, one of us, a licensed title producer here at Universal Title, most of us are attorneys, are in the closing rooms together with those folks explaining the documents as they are signing electronically, and then the electronic notary is notarizing electronically, right? I know that last year in Maryland, there was a period of time where folks were allowed to use a Facetime settlement or use a Goto meeting settlement as far as the state went. That doesn't necessarily mean that the lenders underwriters and the title underwriters were accepting those types of settlements, right? Like title underwriter might say, I'm not insuring that $300,000 transaction that was notarized over FaceTime. Documents were sent, notarized, seeing somebody sign and then send them back. I'm not going to insure that. Lender, I'm not going to lend on that. I'm not going to give you $300,000 to close a transaction such as that one. Whether it happened is another story. But I'm just letting you know that there's a difference between that type of settlement and the use of RON. Okay? One thing I'd like to point out is that when using RON, the settlements are not like using .loop or DocuSign where a buyer, sellers click, 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 and then they're done. As I mentioned earlier in this video, there's a remote online notary, usually one of us, in the virtual conference room explaining the documents, very similar to a regular settlement, just done virtually. I hope that helps. Please let me know whether you have questions. Thanks for watching.